Okay. Good morning, YouTube. Well, I should say good morning. I don't know if it's morning where you're at or when you're watching this, but it's a Saturday morning here, and I thought I would take my BMW K75 out for a little ride. It's been kind of a rainy week, and they're calling for rain the rest of the weekend. So I thought I'd get out and do a quick ride. Bike's pretty dirty, but this is what I am riding today. My 93 BMW K75. I've done a lot of the maintenance videos on this bike that are on YouTube now, so I thought I'd take it out on a little ride with you. Still playing with some of the GoPro settings and things, so hopefully the video will come out alright. I did this ride earlier in the week and had to delete all the video, but thought I'd do this ride again. There's actually a motorcycle show going on over the same direction, so I thought maybe I'd run over there to that and check that out if the weather holds up. I do have my rain gear in case it starts raining, but thought I'd ride this little bike. It's kind of so yeah, let's get started. Maybe I'll talk to you about the bike as we're on the way. Alright, let's get started on this ride. Alright, just real quick, I'm going to go over a couple things on here. This bike has 106,000 miles on it and runs like a champ. I love this bike. It's great for these short rides, little back roads. It would probably be good for some long touring also. But when you start this bike, you always get the brake warning light on here until you hit the front brakes and the back brakes. And also I have a unit on this bike, I think it's by STS, I believe it is, that when you let off the gas or engine braking, that the rear brake lights will blink and come on. So if while we're riding you see this red light keep blinking on and off, it blinks up here also and tells you that I guess something's going on with the brake lights. Really, there's no problem with it. It's just that it's telling you that the brake light is blinking on and off. So if you see that, there's no issues. That's all it is. I really like how this bike has this big display. You can really see it well as you're going down the road. Your tachometer, your gear indicator. I like that it has a gear indicator also. It's great on any bike, but real good on beginner bikes as well. And yeah, so everything's pretty easy to read. The only thing I wish this bike had was a gas gauge. It only has a warning light, which I will tell you about as we ride. So let's get going here. Like I said, hopefully the weather will hang in there and hopefully these GoPro settings will work. This road we're on is Dismal Road, and we're leaving like 55, the Linden area near Front Royal, Virginia, and it's kind of a real humid morning, and like I said, my visor and everything is fogging up right now. Let's see if it'll clear up once we get going, but it doesn't look like it. So I may have to open it every once in a while to get some air in here. It's a very humid morning. It was raining earlier this morning, then quit. And that's kind of why I wanted to take this bike out. This bike's already pretty dirty. And so if it gets road spray and dirt and everything else, it's alright. It needs to be washed anyhow. But I was going to take you on a little back road discovery, a little route that I like to take. This is a road that I take usually if I have, you know, an hour to get out and ride, and like today the weather's not great, so I don't want to be too far from home. I can circle back around and get back before getting soaking wet. But it's a great road too if you want to cut through from Front Royal to Berryville and don't want to take more of the major roads or the Linden area. It's just a really nice back road, and I enjoy riding it and discovering some of the different roads that's out here in Front Royal area. But what I was going to tell you about this bike is the fuel gauge. I bought this bike and originally bought this bike thinking I would maybe turn it into a cafe racer style bike due to the high mileage, and it was missing a couple parts when I got it, and it wasn't in the best of shape. But once I tore into it and saw how well maintained the bike was, I decided not to do that and just kept it. We're turning right now on Happy Creek Road. Happy Creek Road, this road actually changes names several times, so I will try to let you know when it changes, and I'll also have in the description the roads, most of the roads that I take today on this loop. But right now it turns from Happy Creek into Morgan's Ford right after you cross under Route 66 there. But back to this bike, I got a really good deal on this bike. It wasn't running when I got it, and it needed the fuel pump wasn't coming on, and it had sat for probably a year or so, maybe a little more than that. And the gentleman I bought it from had no maintenance records on it. He said he did everything himself. He was pretty much a shade tree mechanic or backyard mechanic, did everything himself and didn't have any records on anything. He said everything had been done. He had done all the spine lube and everything, but you know, people can tell you whatever they want when you're going to buy a bike. So I knew that this bike had the, you know, spline issues if they weren't maintained, with it being a shaft drive bike, and so I was a little leery on it, but I decided to take the chance on it. Bought the bike from him, got it back to my house, and this was all during COVID, so I kind of wanted something to do during the whole COVID lockdown and everything else. So I got it to the house and started looking at things and found out that it wasn't getting power to the fuel pump, and so wound up messing around with it for probably about a half hour or an hour. Found out that there was a broken wire to the fuel pump because the relay was getting power, but it wasn't getting power from the relay. Real quick, this is Low Water Bridge here. This is a little area in the Civil War where they would cross the Shenandoah River, and now they put a little bridge in. Let's see if I can get a couple shots back at the river. It's kind of hazy, but this is where a lot of the crossing happened during the Civil War. They built a low bridge here, and then about 2 or 3 years ago they built a higher bridge that was a little bit higher off the water. The old bridge used to flood anytime we would get any rain and couldn't pass it. So back to the bike, I messed around with it for about an hour and wound up getting the power to the fuel pump, and had it running within like an hour. So I just ran a new wire, but in doing that I never connected back up the warning light for the fuel gauge. So I need to go back through and rewire all of that, so I actually have a low fuel warning light. I usually fill up about 120 miles is what I've figured is a good time to fill up on this bike. And yeah, so then I had to put a master cylinder on it. The front master cylinder was bad. It was all corroded up, and just the brake fluid had sat in there so long that it just stopped everything up. And so for about $75 I got a fuel or a master cylinder, and then a bunch of other parts the guy included. He included the whole bars with all the switches. I think the starter switch was the only thing that was missing on that handlebars that he gave me. And yeah, so got all that. He threw in an alternator and a bunch of other parts he had laying around. This road turns into Milldale right here. So he threw in a bunch of other parts he had laying around, and so I was like, great, you know, for like, I think it was like 75 bucks is what he sold it to me for, which, if anybody knows, this master cylinder is very expensive usually. But I was able to slap the new master cylinder on, put a new front brake line also, because that front brake line had collapsed, the rubber inside had collapsed, and got the brakes sorted out. And so then I went ahead and did the rest of the maintenance on the bike. I have all those videos up on the channel here, so if you'd like to check those out, that would be great. And you know, it has all the maintenance that I think pretty much all the maintenance that I have done on this bike. So all said and done, I bought the bike for 750 bucks, and then some of the other parts that I had to buy and the tires and everything. I think I'm in this bike for it's under $1,100, and I was still kind of thinking of turning it into a cafe racer, but then after riding it, I said, well, I'll take it out, ride it a little bit, and we'll see how it rides, see if I like it, and make sure it wasn't burning oil and things like that. And the more I've ridden it, the more I've fallen in love with it. And this is probably one of my favorite bikes that I have, if not the favorite bike to just get out and ride. It's so much fun to ride. Little, you know, 750, and it's not fast, it's not overpowering, but it's just, it handles great. You can flick it through corners, and like I said, everything works except for that light for the fuel gauge, and it's just fun to ride, and I love the way it rides. It's nice and smooth, it's not loud. It's a great bike to ride in the summer because it doesn't have all the fairings on it to block the wind, so you get a lot of wind on your chest. This fairing doesn't do a whole lot except kind of direct the wind off of your lower section, but like the middle of your chest, you get the wind, so it gets a little tiring if you're going on a long ride with it. But there's no helmet buffering, and it's just a super smooth ride, and it's very easy. This bike is very easy to ride, and it's very enjoyable to ride. I did say in my other video that my other Motovlog, that I was just getting back into riding, and I had ridden dual sport bikes back probably, shoot, it's probably been 13-14 years ago, and that's what I like to ride. I like to get out and do the whole dual sport thing, and had a DR 350, and was actually in a crash on that bike, and off-road crash, not a real big crash that hurt the bike, but it hurt me. It broke my shoulder, broke my collarbone, and every time I would go for a ride, my ex-wife would give me a lot of crap and nag me about it, and so that's one reason she's my ex-wife now. But no, I'm kidding, there's other things involved in that. But anyhow, I wanted to get back into riding. My dream was always to retire and travel America on a motorcycle. So during this whole COVID outbreak and everything going on, and you know, I lost my mother to ALS. She was one of these people that was never ever sick, and all of a sudden came down with ALS, and you know, less than 2 years later she was gone. So it just, that kind of woke me up. It was like, you know, life is short. Here you can be a person that has never had a drink of alcohol in your life, never smoked a cigarette, and then come down with a terrible disease that cripples you. And I love this area through here. Give you a little view of the mountains. But you could never drink a drop of alcohol in your life and live a healthy life and come down with a terrible disease that will take you out. And I also had a cancer scare, had a melanoma cancer on my arm. Luckily it was caught pretty early, but now I have to go through cancer testing every year. So little things like that happened, and I had a cousin that passed away, a healthy cousin that just dropped out of a heart attack, an aunt that got COVID and died. So it was like some of these things happened in my life, and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna stop worrying about things. I'm gonna get out, live my life, live my dreams. My current wife supports me in my dreams, things that I want to do, and is amazing. And she was like, you know, if that's what you want to do and how you want to live your life, go for it. I support you. And so that's what I decided to do, to get back into motorcycling. Then, you know, bought one motorcycle, and then it wound up finding a great deal on another, and sold one, and somebody offered me another bike for really cheap, and I've got videos of that bike also on YouTube. But so it's just kind of compounded, and now I have 4 BMW motorcycles, and so I'm going to do some videos getting out riding, seeing the area. I love discovering the back roads, the back country, and I wanted to start this motor blog for that reason, is to just get out, see the area, discover some back roads, and then, like I said, in a few years when I can retire, my goal is to do a long trip around America and see the world. There's so much to see, so much out here, and I mean, just look at this beautiful country we have, and beautiful landscape. Just take advantage of it and see what you can find, and get out and live, because your life is precious. Your time here could be cut short at any time. You never know when your time is to go. So get out and enjoy it while you can, and treasure it. So that's kind of my story in a quick nutshell. And just, you know, get out and enjoy life. This area we're in here is beautiful horse country. As you can see, there's some horses there. And I usually try to take it easy through here, because I have ran up onto some people riding horses on this road and crossing through this road, and I don't want to scare any horses, and I also want to respect the people that live back here and not go ripping through their area, crazy speeds. And like I said, I am not one to drive crazy. Yes, I like speed and the adrenaline rush just like anybody else, but I also want to get home to my family and continue my riding career and not hurt myself. So if you're here to see crazy wheelie videos and crazy things, which I'm not knocking that if that's what you're into, you're not going to see it here. You know what, I'm going to go straight through here. This is Redgate Road. You can take a right there on Redgate, and this road actually turns into Redgate. So if you take Redgate to the right, that leads you out to Route 50, which will lead you towards Winchester. If you make a left on 50, that'll take you to Winchester. If you make a right, that will take you in towards DC, Haymarket area, things like that, the DC area. But we're going to keep going straight here. This is part of the loop that I like to take. And like I said, I wanted to go to a motorcycle show that's out here. But we're going to take this first part of my loop that I like to take. Hopefully this video is coming out okay. I changed some of the settings on my GoPro. I was having a lot of, on the other settings that I had it on, I was getting a lot of grainy video or playback, and which was weird because it looked fine on my computer, but then when I would download it to YouTube, it would just go all grainy and looked terrible. We're going to make a right here. This is called Ferry Road. And getting out into some farm country here. Also, a lot of bike riders, bicyclists, are starting to use these roads back here because I found that there's not a lot of traffic, but it gives them a good loop to ride their bikes on. So if you come out this way, just be careful hopping up over these hills. You might encounter some bikers, also some wildlife. A lot of deer, some bear, squirrels, rabbits, all those fun things out here that you like to watch out for. There's a nice dairy farm over to the left here, so it's a good thing we don't have smell-o-vision because you smell it. Luckily it's not real hot yet, so don't smell it a whole lot right now. But in the summertime, it's pretty ripe. Another thing to watch out on some of these back roads out here is there are a lot of farms, so you do have where farmers have had their tractors in the fields and they come out on the road and bring out huge mud clogs and a lot of mud and things that could give you a real surprise real quick if you're not paying attention. Coming into a little town here in just a minute called White Post, Virginia. Now I don't know all the history on White Post, but I do know that the White Post that is sitting out here, actually, hold on, it's a little airstrip here, and sometimes you can come in and there's actually, the planes will come right in over this field and land in this little strip right on the other side of the road, which is alright. Well, I think my battery died last time, so I don't know where exactly it finished at, but we're coming back into White Post. And here's a little gas station that they kind of restored some gas pumps and some signage, and looks really cool. Let's see if I can little shot of it, turn back here. But it's a really neat area. I kind of told the history of that White Post there, but apparently George Washington put a placard there, White Post Post Office, put a placard there when he was general, so before he was president, put a placard there to tell you how to get to Lord Fairfax's residence. which and so I guess that marked that area, and apparently he liked to come stay out here at Lord Fairfax's residence, so he put a placard up on telling you how to get to it from here. And Route 340, which is behind us, but that 340 will take you around into Front Royal, and that's called Lord Fairfax Highway. Not sure exactly where Lord Fairfax residence was. I'll have to look that up and try to find it sometime. But this is part of the loop that I like to take, and we'll bring you back around to Morgansford Road where we were at earlier. So I'll take you on this part of the loop back to Morgansford Road. Oh, we got a train running. So there's some train tracks that run, as you can see, along this road. But you have to be careful because this road has a real tight turn on it. It's a 10-mile-an-hour turn, and you want to take it at 10 miles an hour because right after that sharp turn is the railroad tracks. If you take that turn too sharp, there might be people sitting there waiting to get across the railroad tracks, and you might have a surprise. Or you might have to jam on your brakes real tight for a train. Let's see if we can get part of this train. Looks like we'll get it. So yeah, so here's the train tracks, and like I said, it's a very sharp turn to come around to the tracks. This is a pretty long train. As you can see. So while we're sitting here, if you can hear me over top of the train, I'll tell a little bit more about this bike, some things that I like about it. And maybe some things I don't like about it. I might have to keep that visor shut. It's got a super light clutch pull. I really like that. It does not have adjustable levers, but everything, the brake and the clutch, seem to be right there for you. And you know what, I'm going to pause this here. Well, actually I see the end of the train, but I'll probably go over those things again in case you couldn't hear over top of this train. But it's almost done here, so let's get moving again. Alright, what I was saying there is, one thing I like about the bike is real easy clutch pull on it. And same with the front brake over here. It's in a good position. They're non-adjustable, but they're in a good spot where they're like right there for my hands. I wear a size large glove, so I don't have an exceptionally large hands, large reach with my fingers, but they're right there. They're comfortable in a good spot. So, you know, you won't have any problem with reaching controls. Another thing I kind of like on this, and have grown to like, is the turn signals. The left turn signal is right down here at the bottom of your thumb, and the right turn signal is on your right thumb. And to cancel both of those, you push up with the right thumb. Come on, squirrel. Another squirrel. Get out of the road, squirrels. Man, squirrels are out today. Hopefully those are the only squirrels we see. But those are right there at your thumb controls. And I like the way that it's set up. It took me a little bit to get used to it because the other bike I had all the controls on the left thumb for turn signals. So it took me a little bit to get used to the turn signals at your thumb, but now that I have them there, 3 of the bikes that I have them like that, and I like it. Gotten used to it. Now the only downside to that is if you turn your left signal on, sometimes you have a brain fart and you think you've got to push up with your left thumb to cancel the signal, but this is what you get if you do that. You get the horn. That's where the horn is, right at the top of the left turn signal, and it's right on the right one that cancels your turn signals, but on the left one that's your horn, which you know, once you get used to it, it's not bad at all. One thing I don't like about the controls on it is where the control for the high beam lights are. It's right here, and I feel like I have to hunt for it sometimes if I'm riding at night, which I very rarely do, but it's like sometimes you just have to hunt for that, and you know, it's like you can't find it very easily. At least I find that, you know, it has a little cutout there, but it's like you go up from your turn signal and sometimes you're like hunting around for it, you can't find it, but it's right there. You push up for the high beams, down for the low, all the way down gives you a passing light that you can blink, but you know, that's kind of, you know, that's the only downside I have found, that sometimes I hunt for that high beam light. One thing I do like about the turn signals is you can push both of them at the same time, and it will give you, like, it'll turn your hazard lights on. It'll blink both turn signals. So like if you run up on a car that's stopping in front of you really quick and you need to let the person know behind you, you can hit that and it gives you like turns your hazard lights on just until you let go, and then once you let go, whichever turn signal you may have let off of last will be blinking that direction, and you just have to remember to go cancel your turn signal. Old homage carriage there, it's kind of cool. So that's one, you know, going over a few things on this bike that I really like and what I don't like. Other than that, the bike is very comfortable. This one has a Corbin seat on, which raises the seat height probably about an inch, and which I like. I'm 6 foot, and it puts my legs at a really good angle, which I don't feel cramped up on this bike, or if I, you know, do start feeling cramped up, I can put my feet back on the passenger pegs and that helps. Or, you know, another good thing about this bike in the seating position is you can stand up and just stretch. That's one thing I like about it. The rear brakes on the right side for your foot are good. You can get to those really easy if you need to. This is not an ABS model, so you have to remember to keep that in mind if you have to panic brake. I do like that this bike is light and flickable. I mean, you can flick it through corners, which are great. Alright, this little area we're coming into is called Rockland. This little area is not much here to Rockland. It's a church, an old schoolhouse, which is kind of cool, an old church building over here on the left, and we're turning left onto Fairground Rd. Can't see real good here, but everybody has stop signs, but they don't always obey them. But old church there. Old cemetery. I don't ever take this turn or this hill real quick, because I popped over that hill one day and there was somebody trying to, I don't know if they were trying to turn into that cemetery or what exactly they were doing, but they were 3/4 of the way in my lane. I was in a car at the time and just had to jam on the brakes and swerve and just barely missed them. But yeah, beautiful country out here. It's a great ride. This whole loop that I do is about 35 miles, I guess, and it's just gorgeous. Especially in the fall, you get a lot of the colors of the leaves and the trees all turning. But it's a great loop if you just are in the area and you want to see a little bit of the back roads, or just cutting through from Route 50 to like Berryville to back to Front Royal and you don't want to go on the main roads. This is a good alternative. So now we're back here to one of the areas we came through earlier after coming across Low Water Bridge. And Milldale Rd. So we're back on Milldale. And this will take you back across Low Water Bridge. As I said, Milldale turns into Morgan Ford here. I know on the maps they show old road that came through here on some of the maps, and I'm guessing that was an old road they used to use and they've closed it down, and I can't even see as I drive through any remains of that old road, but it does show on the map. If you have a map and you see a road and you're just following maps and you want to take it, it's not there anymore. So I'm going to be quiet for a little bit and maybe just play some music, follow this through. Might speed up the clip since we already came through this area. Getting close back to where we started our video, and I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be showing you some of the back roads of Virginia out here near Front Royal, Virginia. And kind of doing a little quick telling you about this bike. I'm probably going to do a review on this bike and the other bikes I have, just for people that may be in the used market, may be a little leery of wanting to buy a BMW, and we'll do a review of things. This is more of a test to test my GoPro out and the different settings that I'm using. So hope you like it. please like, subscribe, leaving your comments. I'm new at this, so leaving your comments, some tips, some tricks that may help, or if you have some areas out here in Virginia you would like to see before making a trip out here, let me know and I'll be happy to go check it out. I'm always looking for different places to ride, and I've got a lot more I would like to share with you. So yeah, please like, subscribe, and give me your feedback. It really helps. Thanks. Have a great day. Ride safe.